It's not just about being a bronze goddess. I'm not going to tell you how old it actually is. I think I've rather fallen in love. I think that was the Hailey Bieber idea. Would you like to see how I created this latte look on my nearly 70-year-old skin? Then please keep watching. Hello, I'm Des and welcome to my channel. I'm a nearly 70-year-old woman who loves to talk about makeup, skincare, fashion and other bits and bobs that make us happy. So without further ado, let's get into my latte look. So for this latte look on my over 60 skin, I'm going to start by using one of my very favourite foundations of all time, and that's the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Foundation, which I bought almost exactly a year ago, I think now. And it is just one of those foundations that never looks bad, that always looks good on my skin. So because this is kind of a monochromatic look, and this is a sort of warmer shade than maybe some of my foundations, I thought it would be ideal for the latte look. So let's make a start, give it a bit of a shake, pop up just a couple of pumps there. Now this foundation is a medium coverage, I would say, so it's not heavy, it's not full, although I think it might have sold itself as full actually, I can't quite remember now. And all the details of everything that I talk about will be down below in the description box. I'm going to use my brush to apply it, and I'm going to stipple. Now I've got a skincare at the moment. I've got my vitamin C and followed by my CeraVe SPF 50, which I must say is my sort of go-to because it really doesn't pill. I mean, it doesn't leave a white cast either, but to be honest, all the SPFs that I use may leave a white cast except for that one, but only for a little while and then it soon disappears. And I don't really put my makeup on, my foundation on, until my SPF has settled down quite a bit, because I don't wear makeup every single, well, I do wear makeup every day, that's a lie. I do wear makeup every day, but I don't put this sort of makeup on every day. So a foundation, I might just put a skin tint on or something. And that's probably a good half hour after I put my SPF on, unless I'm rushing out, which to be honest, I don't really do these days. Yeah, I think that's pretty well blended in. I think what I'm going to do actually, oh, do you know what? I've been bitten by something here and on my ear as well. I don't know what's going on. There's obviously some weird insecty things around the place in London at the moment. Very odd, because the weather is not as summery as we would have liked. So what I'm going to do is take my sponge and I'm just going to moisten it. It's a great word, that, moisten, isn't it? I like that word. I'm going to moisten my sponge with the Beauty Pie setting spray, which I find quite helpful because then the sponge isn't too wet. And let's just dab that on. Now this latte look, I did kind of do it, although a very complicated version of it, when I did my JLo makeup video, which if you haven't seen that, I will link it up here and down below in the description box. And that was an incredibly complicated but rather fun to do makeup look, which had all sorts of underpainting, as it's now known, and lots of contouring as well as bronzing. Now this makeup look is not like that. And I tried it out the last couple of days and I really liked it. I was quite surprised actually, because it is quite monochromatic and it does have a tendency to be a little bit warm, and warm colours generally are not my thing. But anyway, let's crack on. Right, the next thing we're going to do, and this is again something that I've kind of gone back to, which I'm not sure I ever really got into, but I'm going back to it now, and that is to use a colour corrector. I'm going to use this NYX, can't read the words, a colour corrector anyway, little palette thingy, and I'm going to use this peachy colour because I think that's likely to neutralise, I mean, they are dark circles and they're also bags, but I tried this the other day and I think it really did make a bit of a difference to my under eyes before I put my concealer on. So let's go in with this colour here, this sort of peachy colour. And I think we'll use this double-ended Beauty Pie brush here. And then, so just to get it in the right place, I'll pat it on and then I'll go over it with my fingers. I mean, it's really, I mean, the dark circles are really, or the darkness in my eyes is really here. here, and then a little bit right underneath, I think, particularly on this side. This is the dodgy one with the Entropion, which is this weird eye condition I've got, which is kind of like a lazy muscle. It has not been all that bad of late, which is why I haven't had the operation that I was going to have. In fact, I'd even booked it for the 4th of August. But then, because it sort of righted itself for a while, I thought, well, there's no point paying £3 to have it done when it's not that bad. Now, I think what we'll do is I think the brush hasn't worked all that well, so I'm going to get a bit on my finger. Let's do it that way. And just pat it under there, and then I can always tidy it up afterwards if necessary, but also going into the corner. It's very good consistency, this, actually, because it's not too sticky. I've got some other colour correctors which are stickier, really, but I find this a bit easier to use. Next thing we're going to do is go in with a Natasha Denona High Glam Concealer, this one, which is one of my new faves. In fact, I would say this is the high-end version of the Revolution IRL concealer. They're very, very similar in consistency. Very creamy, very light. Oops. I'm always over concealing, if you know what I mean, over applying it, so I don't want to do that. I'll just put it here. I was going to put something on the bite, but actually you can't really see it, can you? Actually, no, that's quite good. I think that's enough concealing, really. I don't think that, because the foundation is a really good medium coverage, I don't think that there are any blemishes that I need to conceal on top of it, which is very good. Because this look, this latte look is quite, I wouldn't say flat exactly, but it's not, there's not a lot of dimension to it really, and there's not a lot of colour in it. It is very monochromatic because it is latte, which is basically sort of a light creamy brown, isn't it? So that's what we're aiming for. Right, I'm now going to set that with my Airbrush Flawless Finish powder by Charlotte Tilbury. Now, I thought I would try one of these little velvet velour powder puffs, which everybody, including Risa Does Makeup, who I absolutely love, have been raving about. So I'm going to set my under eyes using this rather lovely puff. Has that worked? It's hard to tell if it's actually working because I'm so used to using a brush. Maybe I didn't pick up enough product. Okay, there we are. That should do it, shouldn't it? Right, let's give that a go then. Now, you may be wondering why I haven't done my eyelids, which is what I usually do, but that's because I'm going to use the MAC paint pot on the top. Sorry, my eye's a bit red. It is being a bit dodgy. That eye was very, very watery yesterday. I mean, it is quite high pollen still in London, so that may have something to do with it. Yeah, I'm not convinced about this puff. It may be that I haven't applied it very well, but can you see I've got some sort of settling going on here, so not sure about that. Still, we've got to practice, so I'm just going to try and get rid of that with my sponge. Oh well, we'll tidy it up later. Right, let's do the eyelids now. We're going to use the MAC paint pot in Painterly. So here it is. That's it there. It's a nice kind of bland colour. It's slightly pinky actually, but it's going to be covered up anyway, so that's fine. So let's just pop that on the lids. Like so. My eyelids are very, very greasy at the moment. I don't know why. I suppose it's the heat. And we're going to set these with the powder with the Charlotte, but I'm not going to use that powder puffy thing. I'm just going to use a brush, I think, because not convinced by the puff as yet, but it's early days. Literally, that was the first time I'd used it. So we'll get a brush. Where's my favourite brush? So, where's it gone? Yeah. So we're going to use this Real Techniques brush with the powder. Where's it gone again? yeah, this Real Techniques brush with the powder to set the eyelids. Like so. By the way, if I keep looking away from the camera, it's because I forget I'm actually using my new camera, which I bought fairly recently, and I forget which way I'm supposed to look. I'm not supposed to look at the monitor, I'm supposed to look at the red light. So forgive me if I am looking away a bit, I've just got to get used to it. It's a whole new thing. I did used to have a camera back in the day, but it was so complicated. Anyway, this one's much easier. It's called a vlogging camera. Details down below if you're interested. Right, the next thing we're going to do is brows, and I'm just going to stick to this MAC 9-pan palette. I think it's not called Burgundy, I've forgotten the name of it, but I've been using this for a couple of years and I absolutely love it. And I'm going to use this colour here for my brows because it's fairly close to my natural colour. Do you know, I actually had them dyed the other day, but it was pointless because they just dyed them the same colour that my brows already are. It was a bit silly. I perhaps need to have them done a bit darker. I'm going to try that next time, see how it works, because otherwise there's not much point, is there, in having them done. But I do need to fill them in because they are quite sparse. And you can have, there's all sorts of, I mean, not microblading because I wouldn't want that, but you can actually have some kind of like henna or something done to them at this salon. So I think I might investigate that just to see whether it would work, because it would be nice to wake up in the morning and see your brows just looking a little bit heavier. But they did thread them though, which was quite good. And I'd never really had threading before. I mean, there's not a lot to thread, to be honest. But it was nice to just have them a bit tidier than they normally are. Right, I'm just going to fluff up my brows now, just to make them look a bit more natural, because sometimes they just look a bit sort of, I don't know, I don't love the shape. I wish they were slightly kind of more square, but anyway. They've got that slightly sort of like a comma, do you know what I mean, which I'm not so keen on, but what can you do? Okay, so that's the brows done. Next we're going to do the eyes, and we're going to stick to this sort of monochromatic look and use the same palette. So what we're going to do is go in with a transition shade. I think for the transition shade we'll use this slightly more pinky one here, but it is quite neutral, so I think that will look good. So I'll use this fluffy brush to do the transition. I'll just pop that on the lid. Like that. Because it's very close, well, it's close-ish to my skin colour, isn't it? So that's the idea of a transition, isn't it? Now the latte look is, well, when I Googled it and watched some videos, so some people talk about it as being quite glowy, and I think that was the Hailey Bieber idea, but not all of them are. Oops. It's not just about being a bronze goddess, as it were. It is this sort of monochromatic, almost look like you just got out of bed, like that sort of thing, but with a bit of a tan. I guess that's kind of how I'm reading the latte look, and that's what I'm going for here. And in a way, that was JLo's look that she had done, but obviously spent a lot more time contouring, fiddling about. But then her skin is quite golden anyway, and my skin has some olive in it, but it's not really golden. Right, we've got the transition shade on now, and I think what we'll do is we'll go in with this rather nice, slightly shimmery brown. And I'm going to use my fingers. I mean, look at that, it's a beautiful bronzy colour, isn't it? So let's pop that on the actual lid. Sorry, I'm going to have to... I'll come closer and I need to hold my mirror. The trouble is my lids, as you can see, I mean, look how wrinkly they are. But I think there's something rather nice about that shimmery colour. What do you think? I think that's great for the look that we're going for today. Now, I am going to sort of tightline, but actually I'm going to use this very dark colour here, and I'm actually going to use the powder rather than a pencil. Right, so let me show you what I mean. So we're going to, sorry, it might look really weird, but we're going to paint this colour on the rim of my eye. And yes, I know if you're wearing lenses, it probably wouldn't be that great, but actually I haven't had any fallout. And although I don't wear lenses anymore, and I used to, but I had the laser eye operation about 12 years ago now. It was honestly one of the best things I've ever done. But anyway, I haven't noticed any fallout into my eye, so it does seem to stay. All that happens is eventually it'll sort of transfer itself onto the lower rim of my eye, but I don't actually mind that. It looks kind of sultry and smoky. Right, next we're going to put some mascara on, and oh, I'm loving this Chantecaille mascara. I know it's really expensive. This was a viewer suggested mascara and it is fabulous. It's not that dissimilar to the Maybelline mascara. I think it's Maybelline anyway, which I'll link down below for you, which is a really good dupe for that, I'd say. I mean, look, that's just one coat. It is amazing, isn't it? Right, there we are. That's 2 coats of that fabulous mascara by Chantecaille. Very, very pricey, but absolutely gorgeous. Now, the next thing we're going to do is bronzer. Now, I'm going to use this really quite old now Milk Makeup stick, and I've chosen it because it's not too warm a colour. And I'm going to get my brush, which is nice and dense. I've become a bit more sort of confident with cream bronzers. I wasn't really before. Wasn't really quite sure where I was supposed to put them. So what I'm going to do, I am going to put it here. Oh, it's quite hard actually. I suppose it's because it's a bit old. I'm not going to tell you how old it actually is. Don't tell anyone. So yeah, we'll put it here. Is anything coming out? Still, it's quite sticky, but yeah, it is. That's okay. And then we'll also put it around here. And then we're going to blend it out in a minute. There, maybe a tad on the nose just for fun. So let's have a really good blend now with the brush. It's a good dense brush, this actually. Whose is it by? I can't remember now. Oh yeah, it's Beauty Pie. I must say, when I was a Beauty Pie member, because I've actually just let it lapse now, or I've cancelled it, because I just wasn't buying enough stuff from them, and it was £79. I think it's more now to be a member. I just couldn't really justify it, but I did get some really good brushes from them, so you do have some nice products. But just not enough for me to really justify. Now let me go back to my sponge, and I'm just going to tidy it up, make sure that we haven't got any glaringly bad tide marks, as we used to call them, under the chin or anywhere. Okay, so now we're going to finish off with a Merit lipstick, a Merit lip gloss, and a Charlotte pencil. Charlotte T, that is. So first of all, we're going to take this pencil and I'm just going to line just underneath our natural lip line like that. Like that. And over here. Like that. Like that. Now this isn't all that dark a pencil. This is the darkest one I've got, so I didn't want to go out and buy a very dark one. And you probably could use a bronzer. I think J-Lo does, and some of the other Latte Makeup Look makeup artists did. But I think this is dark enough for now. Then, ooh, where's my Merit? Then we're going to go in with this beautiful Merit lipstick called Baby. Look at that, absolutely lovely. It feels so nice on the lip. Oh, look at that. Gorgeous, isn't it? And finally, the pièce de résistance is this Merit lip oil, which is probably not quite the right shade, but it's the only one I've got. So we're going to use it. I'm just going to put that in the middle. Put it in the middle. Like that. I think I've rather fallen in love with myself. So there you have it. What do you think? I mean, there's no blusher. It's a bit sort of weird, isn't it? But I really like this look. I'm not saying I'd wear it all the time, but I think in the summer, if you're going out, and it is still the summer here, if you're going out in the evening, it's a lovely kind of glowy makeup look, and with very few products really, I think it really does look nice. And us mature women in our 60s, 70s, 80s and beyond, we can get away with this look. To be honest, we can get away with any look, but you know what I mean? If you want to try it and you're a mature woman, I would definitely say give it a go. And let me know in the comments below whether you really would give it a go. And if you've enjoyed this video, I'd be so grateful if you'd give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. It would mean such a lot to me, and I'm really close to 2,000 subscribers now. I'd be so delighted if you'd consider doing that. And hit the notification bell, because I'm uploading once a week on a Sunday. And if you can't get enough of me, and who can, I have a monthly newsletter, and the link to subscribe is in the description box below, as are all the products that I've talked about in this video. And if you're interested in watching more of me, I will pop up a couple of videos now that you might like to watch. And thanks again so much for watching. It means the absolute world to me, it really does. And I hope you're all doing really, really well. And I look forward to seeing you on my next video. Bye!